Wednesday, we talk baseball with our MLB veteran and expert. That is Chad Durbin, 13 years in the show, a world championship back in 2008, was drafted out of Woodlawn High School in the third round back in 1996. Durbs, good morning. How are you, man?
Good morning.
You hear Bregman giving that on national radio. You think what?
I don't see it as a far-fetched idea. I mean, they played really good baseball the second half of the season. They started off real slow. They're as sound a team with the starting pitching, great relievers. They play great defense. They've got passionate, high-quality players in their lineup, veteran presence, young guys. I mean, they're arguably the best player in baseball right now in Christian Yelich, the way he played over the last month and a half. So, yeah, it's not far-fetched, and it'd kind of be cool. The Astros, formerly National League team, the Brewers, formerly an American League team. You know, there'd be some storylines there.
Yeah, that would be cool. I thought you were going to talk about maybe an unwritten rule in baseball that you don't want to talk about advancing before the playoffs start from a guy like Bregman. I thought it really kind of calculated the weight that he now carries in the league and probably in that clubhouse. You got no problem with that, with somebody coming out and saying, yeah, we're going to be there?
He's 10 feet tall and bulletproof right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, why would he think otherwise? When you think about the trajectory over the last couple of years, he's got to think he's one of the best players in baseball and that their team is the best team in baseball. They have to be dethroned before anyone can tell them any different. So I guess I'd rather that cocky attitude than, he's not a cliche guy. He's not going to say what everyone wants to hear all the time because he is confident and he is, turning into one of the faces of baseball. I don't, as a player, I would have had a problem with it. As a guy who's removed from that now, I don't mind it at all.
NL wildcard game last night from Wrigley, Colorado, 2-1 winners in 13 innings. Tony Walters hit a tie-breaking single with 2 outs in the 13th last night. I know you stayed up and watched it. What'd you make of that one?
And extra innings on the road for relievers. Those innings. I mean, I had sweaty palms and dry mouth just thinking about it. I texted a couple guys that I played with in 08, 9, and 10. Brad Lidge, other guys. How miserable. It's fun when it's over and you get the 3 or 6 outs or 1 outs or whatever you're going out there to get. But the level of stress, you're one pitch, one mistake away, one error behind you away from going home, and not just getting walked off in that game, but packing your stuff and going home. Me would be coming home to Baton Rouge, and all right, I didn't really want to be at the tailgates 2 weekends from now, but I am. So I mean, the Cubs went from playing for home field advantage and a division title to playing for their lives, and now they're packing their stuff. So that's their 24 hours right there.
What do you think, Derb? Should there be 2 or 3 games? Because I was thinking about this last night, and from a spectator standpoint, while it might not be the most fair way of deciding who advances, it was riveting TV knowing it's this winner-take-all scenario.
I fired at Jason Stark and Jared Krasnick and a bunch of the older journalists that have done such a good job. And my gut is you don't like it for a minute, but it gives an advantage to the people who won their division. The teams that won their division, they get the advantage now because these teams are exhausted. They've ran the gamut. They've had to battle their butts off. They come up short or they win, and now they've got to travel again. So it does give an advantage. 2 of 3, it's almost too much of an advantage. And to the team that wins, you go in with having won 2 games in a row or 2 out of 3, and the other team sat around for 2 or 3 extra days, which is hard to do in baseball. For a pitcher, takes away some of the sharpness. You're either too strong or you lose some touch on things. Hitters haven't seen live pitching in 4, 5, 6 days. So I think it's right. But yeah, it's fun. As a spectator, it is fantastic. This is game 7, right out of the chute, win or go home. As a player, I've been in that game with the 2012 Braves, and you go from thinking, hey, we're going to win here, we're going to travel, we're going to do this, and then you're literally in your car driving home. You're like, what just happened? So I do understand it.
It's almost like penalty kicks taken to the most extreme end of the spectrum, where people complain that penalty kicks is no way to decide that 120-minute battle. Well, How about one game for 162?
And the TV ratings peaked during the penalty kicks.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It makes both are very exciting. Okay, so looking forward to tonight. We're going to do it all again, Derbs. A's in New York taking on the Yankees. What's your read on the game?
It's a 97-win team versus a 100-win team. So, again, two teams that neither one deserves to go home. You know, if we're talking about who deserves what. But the fact is, neither one of them won their division. The Astros are better than the A's, and Boston is better than the Yankees, and the proof was over 162. So now you have the A's going out there and doing their opener. They're throwing a reliever to start the game, and then they'll bring in somebody else. And then Severino is who the Yankees chose to start out on the mound. He throws 96 to 100 miles an hour with a wipeout slider. Last year in the wild card game, he got beat. He didn't make it through 2 innings. Against the Twins. So he's been there, and he has electric stuff. He has shut-your-team-down stuff. Both teams are fun to watch, offensively, defensively. They both have good bullpens. So it might come down to kind of the same thing as last night. Maybe not 13 innings, but I think it comes down to a 1 or 2 run ball game late, a big defensive play or a big at-bat, a reliever not getting his job done, that type of stuff. It's going to be a fun game.
What's it feel like to be a reliever, do you think, and give up the run that ends up deciding the season? How do you deal with that?
Well, you sit down and, well, it wasn't a reliever this time. It was a starting pitcher last night that came in. Cole Hamels came in.
I guess,
really
yeah.
well.
What's it just feel like to be the pitcher, I guess, is the better question that has that happen to you?
Well, in Game 6 of the World Series in 2009, Jeter hit a double into the gap. Got a little air under it, but guys are playing him to hit to right center and pull, it just fell in between guys. And so that gave up like the runs that took it from a 2-run game to a 4-run game. And with Mariano out there, I mean, you feel like every single pitch is like 10 pitches. You feel like every out is 3 innings. And you feel like every hit is a barrage of them. There's just so much emotion tied to it. You're playing for your team. You're trying to just hold the rope, get it to the next guy. You're playing for your city. You're playing for the people that have followed you all your life at home. It's on national TV. There's just so much that goes into it, and that's the ability to get rid of all that. That's why the veteran relievers, they might not have the stuff some of the young kids have, but they can get rid of a bad outing or a bad pitch or a bad moment quicker. But the young guys with the electric stuff, if they're going well, it's kind of like Greg's has over the last couple of years. He hasn't run into really rough stretches, and maybe he never will because he's really good. But it's the ability to bounce back from that. Once you've established yourself as somebody that people can count on, it's the mental game. It's that 6 inches between your ears, and that's what the relieving is in the postseason. You have to go out and get the most important outs in a game, arguably. And if you don't do it, you couldn't tell me. I can tell you who pitched, but you couldn't tell me who the relievers were who didn't give up runs last night because they didn't give up the run. It's like the kicker makes the kick, and you're like, hey, yeah, he was supposed to make it. It's 37-yarder. From the left hash.
The kicker made it. Cole Tracy missed it.
It's the O lineman curse. You only get noticed when you get a holding or give up a sack.
That's true.
Oh yeah, when you turn to the camera as the guy's pulling down the quarterback and it's your number, on screen, you're like, oh yeah, that guy gave me a good swim move there. I missed.
Hey, Derbs, so $166 million payroll for the Yankees, a $66 million payroll for the Athletics. You mentioned the win differential with 197. Did I read right that 1 through 9 Yankees lineup, all of them have at least 20 home runs on the season?
Do they really? Good Lord. Hey, they're going to hit a couple tonight then. And it's a matter of, hey, can we make those solos? Can we make those 1-run home runs and not 3? That's going to be the damage control because that's a little bitty stadium. They're big in left center, but, man, if you miss one to right field and you're Aaron Judge or Stan or any of those guys, it's gone. And the A's have some guys that can really thump the ball. Chris Davis is a stud. He can make some accidents happen to right field also. So it could be an 8-7 game. It could be a 2-1 game. It really does depend on how well the pitchers come out and execute. But that's 20 home runs all the way through the lineup. That's why I retired, guys. That's why I'm done.
Sound a lot better. Sound much more comfortable here on Wednesday mornings. Thanks, man, for the insight as always.
All right, guys. Talk to you. Thank you.
Take it easy, Derbs.
Chad Durbin checking in with us just like he does every Wednesday.